What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of 30 and 30. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about training intensity. Now, yes, intensity can be very important, but today what I wanted to focus on was perceived training intensity and sustainable training intensity. And those are two different things. So perceived training intensity is how hard we think we're actually training when we're in the gym. Although we may think that we're training very hard, I think it can be eye-opening sometimes when you go into another gym or you go to like a big fitness event like the Arnold Classic that's coming up in Columbus, and you're around other people who have different training intensities. I've been around some very intense people in the gym and some very laid-back people in the gym, almost questioning why they're even there. So that is our perceived training intensity, is how hard we think that we're actually training. Now, the sustained intensity is another topic that I wanted to cover today, and that's pretty much how intense we can be over time. So essentially, we have to get to an intensity level that can be maintained. And what am I getting at this? Some people might be confused at this statement. They think, well, I go as hard as I physically can in every single training session. While that may be, the right methodology of getting your training intensity up, I actually don't suggest that. So I touched on this a couple videos ago, just briefly mentioned it in my overtraining video, but I did want to dive a little bit more into it today because I think it's very realistic when it comes, especially in today's society, and that would be training to the nerve, as it is referred to, or really ramping up our training intensity when the camera is on us or when there's other people around, shouting at us and telling us to get more weight, or someone's over us spotting us and they're yelling in our face to push the weight. Although maybe it helps in that instance, it's that you're not always going to have that outside stimulus. You're not always going to have the camera on you. You're not always going to have the right song playing at the right time in order to help you push through that set. So you have to find a level of sustained intensity that you can do. So for example, one of my friends is a powerlifter in the gym, Genesis. I'm sure a lot of you guys who follow me on Instagram know that I'm pretty much his spotter every single day. He does not listen to music ever. He just has the music in the background of the gym going. The only time I ever see him ever going to put music on is if there's like a lot of people in there and it's super distracting. Otherwise, he doesn't rely on music. He doesn't walk back and forth and pace back and forth and psych himself up before any lift. He pretty much just goes in, is very calm about it, is composed, hits the lift. He doesn't take himself to a superhuman type state. He doesn't have to go to Super Saiyan 3 in order to pick up his deadlift or hit his bench press. He finds a level of intensity that he can maintain over a length of time that helps him achieve his goals. Now, yes, maybe if he did get psyched up before a lift, he might be able to lift a little bit more in that given moment. But how is that going to help overall progression when it comes to powerlifting? Because if you have to take yourself to that Super Saiyan 3 level every single time that you lift, that's training over your abilities. That would be an essential overreaching. And sometimes, if we miss the weight, maybe we're just not ready for that. Maybe we shouldn't have to take our adrenaline levels up that high in order to hit a given weight. And in the past, I've been guilty of that myself. You know, you've probably maybe seen me in videos back in the day. If you've seen me lift weights back in the day, I definitely did this. I would be pacing back and forth, getting up under the squat rack, hitting the bar against my chest, putting it on my back, and ripping out a few sets of squats or, you know, deadlift. I've touchdown spiked my belt after I've hit a couple of deadlifts before. That video has not been released, nor will it, because I said some choice words after it in a public setting. But we need to train within our given intensity levels, you know, something that could be maintained over time. So what I want you guys to focus on, take from this video, is how hard are we actually training in the gym, which is our perceived intensity level. And maybe it is, you know, it is good sometimes, especially if you're someone who trains alone like myself. You know, like I did say, I train with Genesis, but, you know, he's a power lifter. We're doing two different things. It is good for sometimes to see another bodybuilder train and how they train, and if they are successful, you know, to take a page out of their notebook and put it in mine. And then, you know, last thing is going to be that sustained intensity over time. You know, it's not all about the single 1 point intensity. It's not all about how ramped up you can get before your squat or your deadlift or your bench press. In my eyes, especially if you're a bodybuilder and even a power lifter, it's about how long you can sustain that intensity over time, that right level of intensity. I do want to say that, the correct level of intensity over time, because that's what's going to help you get sustained gains. You know, it's not always taking yourself, you know, to Super Saiyan 3, to God mode, or whatever you want to call it. For those Dragon Ball Z fans out there, it may have lost a few people there, but that's okay. So we need to be able to perform well in our base form, if you will, with our God-given talents, and we don't need the music. We don't need the hype crew next to us yelling in our face to get the weight up. You know, we need to train within our means and be able to sustain our intensity over time, because that's what's actually going to get us the best results, and that's what's going to allow us to go into the gym every single time and perform at a high level, at a good level, maybe not at like a superhuman level, but that's what's going to lead to the best growth over your training career. So guys, thanks for tuning in for an episode of 30 and 30. Tune in tomorrow for another one. I'll see you then.